And now it's time for the Duchess Radio Theatre, starring Makoto Curio, Dulcie Rogers, Katie Fairbairn and Indiana Martin, along with Arthur Price, Toby Graham, Tyler Kelly, Sam Thornbury, Louis Maskell, Penelope Leach, Catherine English-Jones, Kia Molnar-Brown and myself, Imogen Bush, in It's a Wonderful Life. In heaven, the superintendent of angels is still reviewing George Bailey's case history. Clara, an apprenticed angel, is eager to depart for her mission to Earth.
Goodness, boss! I've heard enough background. If George Bailey's contemplating suicide, I better head right down to Earth.
Hold it, Clara. We're not anywhere near the point where George Bailey is thinking of taking his life.
What? Why not?
You'll never get your wings unless you can be patient. Now, where were we?
George Bailey and Mary Hatch were heading out of town on their honeymoon when they ran into a bank run, I mean.
Yes. It was the financial panic of 1932. You see, bank troubles were very prevalent.
Whoa, what's going on, boss?
In the lobby of Building and Loan, dozens of worried shareholders were clamoring for their savings. Meanwhile, George found Uncle Billy in his office.
What is this, Uncle Billy? I saw a line of people outside the bank, but what's with the angry crowd in our lobby?
It's a panic, George. They want to withdraw their shares.
They want their money.
But we're in a pickle. The bank called in our loan this morning.
Our loan?
Shut up, Jimmy.
Forget the bud. The bank called in our loan?
Well, they've got to run. They need cash. So they demanded we pay off our loan immediately. I handed over all our cash. I had to.
You handed over all our cash? But that means...
The whole town's gone nuts, George. Now we're in the same pickle as the bank. Who'd have thought you couldn't trust the American banking system to beat... Hello? This is Billy. What? Potter. George, it's Henry Potter.
For me? George Bailey here.
George, are you okay? Have you called the police to quell that unruly crowd in your lobby?
The police? Now, why would we need to...
I just want you to know that in this financial crisis, I'm here to help.
Help?
Yes, I've just guaranteed sufficient funds to the bank. They will close down for a week's bank holiday, then reopen.
Potter just took over the bank. I see. They'll reopen under new management, of course.
Of course! Now this may cost me a fortune, but I'm willing to help out your shareholders too. If they need cash, they can sell their shares to me. I'm paying 50 cents on the dollar.
Oh, no, they won't. There'll be no fire sale here. We don't need your bailout.
Ha! You don't have any cash and you know it. That means bankruptcy, and your working people will lose everything. Am I wrong? I know your charter. If you close your doors before 6 p.m., you'll never reopen.
You don't miss a trick, do you, Potter? Well, here's one you will. Shut up, Jimmy.
Well, George, I guess you told him.
Yeah, Uncle Billy, but he's right. Our charter requires we stay open until 6 p.m. If we don't, the state can take our license away.
Stay open until 6 without any money? It'll take a miracle.
Well, come on. Let's see about that crowd out there. Hey, what's going on? Where's my money? Come on, I got kids to feed. I got bills to pay. I don't need $300 to tide me over to the next month. You gotta have something to save for me. Come on. What's going on? Where's my money? Come on, I got kids to feed. I got bills to pay. I don't need $300 to tide me over to the next month. You gotta have something to save for me. Okay, hold on now, please. Now, Now, please, everybody, don't panic. I know you want your money. Look, I just talked with Mr. Potter on the phone. He says the bank will reopen next week. Next week.
We want our money. George, where's our money?
Oh, come on, everybody. Wait, just a minute now. Listen here. Come on. You got it all wrong. Your money isn't here. Just a minute. Let me explain. Your money's not here. It's not in the safe. No. The money you've invested in this building and loan was put into people's houses. It's in Ernie's house, and Grimaldi's house, and your house, and 100 other houses.
That's how the building and loan works. If you all want your money now, what do you want us to do? Foreclose on them? Throw them out of their homes?
I don't care. I got $242 in shares here. $242 won't break you. Close my account. I want my money. Now!
Okay. Sign this form and you'll get your money in 60 days.
What do you mean, 60 days?
Well, that's what you all agreed to when you bought your shares.
I got my money. Old man Potter will pay you 50 cents on the dollar for your shares.
Now what do you say, George?
Well, now we have to stick to the agreement.
Oh, yeah? Come on, everybody. Let's take our shares to Potter. Half is better than nothing.
Wait! Come on! Please, folks, don't do this! Stop! Listen, if Potter gets a hold of the building and loan, there won't be a decent house built in this town again. Can't you see? He's just taken over the bank. He's already got the bus line, the department store, and now he's after us. You know why? We're cutting into his business. He wants to keep you living in his shacks and paying the rent he decides.
But George...
Eddie, last year things were tough for you. You couldn't always pay, right? Do you think Potter would have let you keep your house?
Well...
Listen, everybody. Potter is buying because you're panicking and he's not. To him, you're just a bunch of bargains. Now, we can get through this, but only if we stick together. We gotta believe in one another. Have faith.
It's a lot of fine talk, George. But I've got doctor's bills to pay.
My husband got laid off. We need our money.
Yeah, what do we live on until the bank reopens?
You can't feed your kids on faith.
George, darling.
Hey, Mary.
How much they need? We've still got some money.
We do? Oh, yes, we do.
The honeymoon money.
Wait, folks, I got $2,000. Here, my own money.
Well, that could last us until the bank reopens.
Oh, I hope so, Uncle Billy. Oh, sure would have made a nice honeymoon, though.
Bought some furniture, too.
Okay, we got some cash. All right, Charlie, how much do you need?
$242.
Come on, Charlie, how about just enough to tide you over?
I want my $242.
Okay. Uncle Billy, give Charlie here $242.
That closes my account, then?
No, that doesn't close your account.
It's just a loan, Charlie. Just a loan.
Okay, all right, Eddie. Now...
Well, I got $300 in here.
Oh, come on, Eddie. How much do you need?
Well, $20 then.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. Thank you. Okay. Mrs. Davis, how about you?
But this is your own money, George.
Look, that's okay. That's okay. What do you need?
Well, would $17.40 be too much?
$17.40. Oh, bless you, dear. Pay it back when you can now. When you can. Okay, who's next? Who's next now? Let's try to spread it out. Spread it out.
Look at the clock, George. Look.
I'm looking, Uncle Billy. I'm looking. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
6 o'clock. Whew. We made it.
Lock the door, Eustace. Lock that door.
Right, George.
Ha! Still in business, Uncle Billy. Even if we only got $2 left.
Maybe they'll breathe in the safe, eh, Eustace?
Yeah, like bunnies.
Oh, they better.
George, telephone.
Okay, Tilly. Oh, by the way, call my wife, will you? I forgot all about the...
Mrs. Bailey's on the line.
No, I don't want Mrs. Bailey. I want Mrs. Bailey. Wait, Mrs. Oh, right, that is my wife. Give me the phone already, will ya? Hello? Is this Mrs. Bailey?
Yes, this is Mrs. Bailey.
Well, Mary, we survived. I'm sorry.
Now that you're done saving things, come home.
Huh?
Come home.
Come home? Well, what home?
Our home.
What?
Our home, George, at 320 Sycamore.
320 Sycamore? Huh? Whose home is that?
Our home.
Huh?
Our home, saphead.
But, Mary, how can we have a home?
Right now.
Right now? Okay, sure. All right, sure.
I love you.
I love you too, honey. I'm coming home.
Clara, do you know where 320 Sycamore was?
His mother-in-law's house?
No, it was the old Granville house, where George and Mary threw rocks and made wishes. You see, her wish was to marry George and live in the Granville house. And so that's where they honeymooned, that's where they set up the house, and that's where they were still living 2 years later, when Mr. Potter asked George to drop by his office.
Now, George, I suppose you're wondering why you're here?
Well, I have no idea, Mr. Potter, but I'm sure you do.
That's what I admire about you, George. You're like me. You get right to the point. Okay, well, George, I'm giving up.
You're giving up?
Yes, as you know, I run nearly everything in this town. Everything except the Bailey Building and Loan, of course. I've tried to gain control of it for years, but you've outwitted me, evaded me, defeated me. Am I right?
Well, actually, yes.
That's because you're a smart man, George. 2 years ago, during the bank panic, you and I were the only ones who kept our heads. You saved the building and loan, and I saved everything else.
Well, most would say you stole everything else.
Envious people might say that, George. The suckers might say that. But we both know that I was just being a smart businessman, and that's what I'm being right now.
So you're giving up?
Well, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
What? Now, if you're suggesting that we...
Wait, George, don't get up. Don't leave. Take it easy now. I've told you my side of the story. Let's look at your side.
What?
Your side. Now, you're a young man, 27, 28, married, making what? $40 a week?
45.
Okay, 45. And if you were a common, ordinary yokel, I'd say you were doing well. However, you're no common, ordinary yokel, son. You're an intelligent, resourceful, ambitious young man who hates his job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you hate the building and loan almost as much as I do, George. You've been dying to get out of this town ever since you were born. You see your friends, your brother, go places, while you're trapped here, trapped into frittering away your life, playing nursemaid to a lot of garlic eaters. Is this a correct picture, George, or do I exaggerate?
So, what's your point, Mr. Potter?
My point is that I want to hire you, George.
Hire me? To do, what?
To manage my affairs, oversee my properties, and I can start you off at $20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year?
Of course, and you're worth it too. Wouldn't you like to live in the best house in town? Get your wife some fine clothes, a trip to Europe every year?
Europe? Are you sure you're talking to me? I'm a George Bailey. Remember me? The building and loan George Bailey?
Yes, the George Bailey whose ship has just come in, providing he has the brains to climb aboard.
Yes, but what about the building and loan?
Forget about the building and loan. I'm offering you a 3-year contract at $20,000 a year. Do we have a deal or not?
Well, $20,000. A nice home. Europe. Can you give me 24 hours to think about it? You know, ask my wife?
Of course, George. Meanwhile, I'll draw up the papers. Let's shake on it, my boy.
Okay, Mr. Potter. Gee, I never would have thought I'd be shaking...
What is it? Is there something wrong, George? We're just shaking hands over business.
No, I can't do it. I don't need 24 hours. I know right now the answer's no. No!
What?
If you offered me $1 million to stay in Bedford Falls, to be your stooge, the answer would still be no.
But why?
Because the whole world shouldn't revolve around you and your money. Some things can't be bought or bought off, and I'm one of them. I don't need you or your money. Now, let me out of here.
Ha! You'll eat those words, George Bailey. You're a failure, just like your father. You just don't know it yet.
Sorry I'm so late, Mary. What? Are you bored waiting up for me?
Just knitting, George. So, what did Mr. Potter want to see you about?
Nothing really. Just, talk, you know. But, geez. Why did you marry a guy like me anyway?
Well, I didn't want to be an old maid.
But I was gonna see the world. You know, go places, build things. I was gonna give you the moon, but instead, what have I given you, huh? No nice house, no fine clothes, no trip to Europe. Gee, some husband I am. God, I feel terrible.
Me too. Mornings especially.
I mean, you could have married somebody successful, you know, somebody like Sam Wainwright. I mean, anybody else.
But I didn't want anybody else. I wanted my baby to look like you.
You didn't even get a honeymoon. I mean, no fancy. You. What? Do you want to look like me?
My baby.
Baby? What? You mean? Hey, Mary, you mean you're on the nest?
Speak up!
Well, Clara, Mary had her baby, a boy they named Petey.
Ah, that's nice.
Then another one, a girl, Janie.
Good for them.
But of course, George never got out of Bedford Falls.
He didn't?
No. Year after year, George slaved away at the building and loan, helping folks like Mr. Martini move into their own homes in the development Bailey Park. George kept on dreaming and hoping. Mary had another baby, Susan, who they nicknamed Zuzu.
How charming.
Then came the war. Mary ran the USO and had another boy, Tommy. Uncle Billy and Gower sold war bonds. Old Mr. Potter headed the draft board, of course. And Violet joined the waves. Until they found out her way of raising morale would sink the Navy.
Oh my!
But the cop got wounded in Tunisia and received the Silver Star. Ernie, the cab driver, was captured by the Nazis, but escaped from a prison camp. And George's brother, Harry. Remember him?
Yes, he moved to Buffalo.
Ahem. Yes, he did. But Harry became a real hero. As a Navy flyer, he shot down 15 planes, 2 of them just as they were about to crash into a ship full of soldiers.
And George? What did George do in the war?
Well, George fought the Battle of Bedford Falls. He was designated 4F due to his bad ear. So, he served as an air raid warden. Ran the scrap drives, rubber drives, plastic drives. Like the rest of the country, on V-Day, he wept and prayed. And on VJ Day, he wept and prayed again.
Well then, we're just about up to date, aren't we, boss?
Yes. The only thing you don't know about George Bailey is what happened that has him down there at this moment, wanting to die.
Suicide? Well, what is it, boss?
All right. Today is the day before Christmas. And in addition to holiday preparations, George is very excited.
Tilly, Eustace, did you see this in the newspaper? Commander Harry Bailey, famous Navy ace, decorated by President. My brother, the Medal of Honor.
Gosh, George, that's just swell. Shut up, Jimmy.
Commander Bailey downed 15 enemy planes. The last, a kamikaze, just as it was about to drive into a troop transport. Ha! Think of it. Harry saved hundreds of lives. Hey, where's Uncle Billy? Eustace?
He's at the bank, George.
But the bank examiner's here, waiting for him.
Well, good afternoon.
Carter, bank examiner.
Yes, of course. Hey, you know what? My brother's picture's here in the paper. The president is decorating him today.
Yes. Well, I suppose they do that sort of thing. Now, about the books. George?
Violet, how are you? Did you see the paper? All about Harry's homecoming and,
Can I see you a minute, George? Privately?
Privately? Okay, Vi, we can just go to my,
Mr. Bailey, I'd like to finish your audit tonight so I can get home to Elmira and spend Christmas with my family.
Oh, yes, that's right. I just have to, Tilly, show the books to,
Carter, bank examiner.
Of course. Can you, Tilly?
Sure, George. I'll bring them into the conference room. Come right this way,
Carter.
Bank examiner.
Shut up, Jimmy.
Violet, step into my office.
Thanks, George.
So, what can I do for you, Vi?
The letter you promised?
Letter. Oh, yes, the letter of recommendation. I was right in the middle of typing it when all this stuff about Harry came up.
Like I told you on the phone, George, I'm leaving for New York. I gotta make a fresh start.
Here, how's this? To whom it may concern, the bearer, Miss Violet Bick, has been employed here at Bailey Building and Loan for the past 2 years.
That's lying, George.
Now, Vi. She's demonstrated intelligence,
A lie.
ability,
A lie.
and good character.
Character? If I had any character,
I'm happy to give her my wholehearted endorsement.
Gee, thanks, George.
Come on now, it takes a lot of character to leave your hometown and start somewhere new. And here's something to help you get started.
No, oh no, George, I can't take that.
Come on, you're broke, aren't you? Do you want to hawk your furs and that hat? Walk to New York? It's a loan, Violet, that's all. I'm in the loan business. Besides, you'll get a job.
Yeah, sure.
Good luck, Vi.
I'm glad to know you, George Bailey. Merry Christmas, Georgie.
Same to you, Vi. Say hello to New York.
Hello, New York.
Oh, shut up, Jimmy.
Shut up, Jimmy.
Eustace, where's that Uncle Billy?
He's making a deposit at the bank.
At the bank? At the bank? Shut up, Jimmy.
Well, Mr. Potter, here to personally guard your money? What? Vault not strong enough?
Look out, Bailey, you old fool! My wheelchair!
Did you see the news? Harry Bailey gets a Medal of Honor. What do those Bailey boys do next?
Huh? Let me see that newspaper.
Sure, here.
What does that slacker George think about Harry being decorated?
Well, if that slacker George had gone, he'd have earned 2 Medals of Honor.
Oh, but George didn't go. Bad ear. He heard everything but the call to arms.
Well, make sure to read the part about the parade for Harry tomorrow. Sorry, can't chat more, you old thief. I gotta go make a deposit.
Next customer, please.
Hello. Let me see here. Here you are. Bank book, deposit slip, and a Merry Christmas to you.
To you too, Mr. Bailey. But, aren't you forgetting something?
I forget things all the time.
So, Mr. Bailey, where's the money?
What?
You want to make a deposit, don't you?
Of course. I want to deposit $8,000.
Well then, it's customary to bring the money with you.
The money? The money! It's gone! Where'd I put the money?
God, wheel me out of here!
Take note, Clara. Uncle Billy couldn't find the deposit money because the envelope with the $8,000 was folded up in the newspaper he gave to Mr. Potter.
The money was in the newspaper? So that's why George and Uncle Billy are scouring the streets.
Look by the curb, Uncle Billy. I'll look by the mailbox.
I just don't know what happened to it, George. I just don't know.
$8,000. Not our money, the depositor's money. Oh, and the bank examiner's here.
But George, we traced every step I took.
Well, if you didn't drop it, maybe you never put the envelope in your pocket in the first place.
Maybe, but oh, no good to you, George. No good.
Come on, you gotta think. Think.
I can't think. I just can't.
Now, where's that money, you old fool? This means bankruptcy, scandal, prison. One of us is going to jail. Well, it won't be me. You keep looking, you hear? I'm going home.
George.
What's the matter, George? You haven't said a word since you came home.
How can I? With Janie banging on the piano? God, does she have to keep playing that over and over again?
I gotta practice for the Christmas party, Daddy.
What is it, dear? Another hectic day?
Oh, yeah, a red letter day for the Baileys.
Mom, here's Zuzu's plate. Hey, Dad.
Not now, Petey.
The Browns next door got a brand new car. You should see it.
Well, what's the matter with our car, huh? What, not good enough for you?
Sorry, Dad. I only meant...
Thanks for bringing Zuzu's plate, dear. All right, run along now.
Okay, I'll finish on the decorations.
Zuzu's eating in her room? What's the matter with her?
Oh, she caught a little cold coming home from school. Didn't button up her coat. She got a flower as a prize and didn't want to crush it, so she...
What do you mean, a little cold?
It's okay, dear. The doctor said it was nothing serious.
The doctor? What, the doctor, Kate?
Zuzu's got a little temperature. Just 99 point...
It's this drafty old house. It's a wonder we don't all have pneumonia.
George!
I mean, why do we live here in the first place, huh? What is this? Why in this crummy little town?
What's wrong, dear?
Everything's wrong. Oh, why did we have to have all these kids anyways?
Daddy, how do you spell frankincense?
I don't know. Ask your mother.
Where are you going, George?
To see Zuzu.
Daddy!
Are you okay, Zuzu? I heard you got a cold.
I want a flower at school, Daddy. Can you give it a drink of water?
Drink of... Okay, I'll...
Daddy, you crushed it!
Oh, I didn't mean to. I was just...
Fix it, Daddy. Paste it.
There. See? It's all pasted, huh? Good as new.
Thank you, Daddy. You can do anything.
Anything? Now try to get some sleep, darling. You'll get better.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Mary, Zuzu felt a little hot to me. Maybe we'd,
Hello? Oh, thank you, Mrs. Welch. Oh, she'll be all right.
Who is it, Mary?
It's Mrs. Welch, Zuzu's teacher. What? Oh, well, the doctor said she should be out of bed in time for...
Mary, give me that phone.
George, please.
Is this Mrs. Welch? Well, this is Mr. Bailey. Now, what kind of teacher are you, huh? Do you realize that she could get pneumonia because of you?
George!
Silly, careless people like you sending kids home half naked. You know, maybe my kids aren't the best dressed kids in town, but at least, hello? Hello? Janie, enough with the piano. Cut it out. Stop.
Daddy!
George, whatever's wrong with you? Must you torture the children too?
Okay, then how about this?
You worked for months on that bridge model.
Happy now?
What's come over you? You're acting like a wild...
I'm sorry. Janie, I'm sorry. Mary,
George!
I gotta get out of here.
So that's what this sudden visit is about, George. You're $8,000 short in your accounts.
That's right, Mr. Potter. But you gotta help me. I'll pay any sort of interest. If you still want the Bailey building and loan, I guess we could arrange some kind of...
But you say the money was lost? What if it was stolen? Maybe you should notify the police.
No, sir. You see, Harry's homecoming is tomorrow, and well, the publicity would just...
I see. You didn't lose the money playing the market, did you, George? Horses?
Of course not, Mr. Potter. The money's just...
A woman, then. Half the town's talking about you giving money to Violet Bick.
No, that has nothing to do with the...
So you've come to me. Why not your buddy, Sam Rainwright?
Well, I tried to get a hold of him, but he's in Europe right now, you see.
So you want a loan from me for $8,000? What do you have as collateral, George?
Well, I have some life insurance here.
Life insurance? For how much?
A $15,000 policy. It's,
$15,000? But what's your equity in it?
500.
500? And you want an emergency loan on Christmas Eve for $8,000?
Yes.
Ha! You're pathetic, George. For years, you opposed my plans and derided my character. You said you didn't need me or my money, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And now, suddenly, I'm very important to you. Well, do I look like Santa Claus?
No, Mr. Potter.
You once called me a warped, frustrated old man. Well, George Bailey, what are you but a warped, frustrated young man? You dreamed of conquering the world. Look at you now, crawling to me for help. Ha! Go to the riffraff you love so well. Go beg them for help.
Please, Mr. Potter, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to swear out a warrant for your arrest.
Wait a minute, Mr. Potter, I thought that...
I'm calling the sheriff, and then the district attorney, and then the newspaper.
The sheriff? The newspaper? What about a loan for my insurance policy?
For $500 in equity? Ha! George, you're worth more dead than you are alive.
No, I've got to get out of here.
Where are you going, George? You can't hide in a small town like this. Hello, Sheriff Baxter. This is Henry Potter. I want to report embezzlement at the...
Of that Henry Potter.
Yes, Clara. He had George's $8,000 in his desk drawer.
What will George do now, boss? Where is he?
Well, he's at Martini's tavern. George has had a couple of drinks. He's dazed, just standing there.
Our Father, who art in heaven. Oh, God. I've never been a praying man, but if you are listening, show me the way. Please. I'm lost, God. Lost. Please.
Mr. Bailey, you alright? Mr. Martini, George here don't look so good.
You're right, Nick. Mr. Bailey, you're drinking too much. Too much. You had enough, please.
Bailey? Which Bailey you talking about?
This is Mr. Bailey. Mr. George Bailey.
George Bailey? Why, you... Serves you right, Bailey. If you ever talk to my wife that way again, you'll get even worse.
Huh?
Ain't it enough she slaves away, teaching your stupid kids how to read and write? Then you gotta bawl her out on the phone? She cried for over an hour, you louse.
Hey, beat it, Mr. Welch. You punched my best friend. He helped me buy my first house. Out of here. Go. Throw him out, Nick.
Go on, Welch. Never mind the tab.
All right, I'm going.
Mr. Bailey, how you doing?
Oh, Martini, who was that, huh?
That was Mr. Welch.
Oh, that's what I get for praying. Oh, where is my policy?
Huh?
My insurance policy.
Don't you worry, Mr. Bailey. Welch don't come here no more. Wait, Mr. Bailey, I get something cold for your face. Look at the blood.
No, that's all right.
Please, don't go. Mr. Bailey, stay.
Go on, just let me be.
Stay here, Mr. Bailey. It's snowing. Nick, take Mr. Bailey home.
No, let me alone. Alone, you hear?
Well, Clara, George left Martini's tavern a few minutes ago. He's standing on the toll bridge, looking down at the river. He's about to jump. Do you have your plan ready?
I don't know, boss.
Well, if you can save George Bailey's life, you'll get your wings.
My wings? Oh, yes, my wings! I won't let you down, boss. George! George Bailey! Don't jump, George! Get away from that bridge, George! George, stop!
It's a Wonderful Life, based on Frank Capra's film, was adapted for radio by Tony Palermo and brought to you by the Duchess Radio Theatre. Music composed and performed by Jonathan Green. Directed by Eleanor Wilson. Sound production by Amy Miller-Trotter with assistance from Mace Holtham. Young George was played by Keir Molnar-Brown, Mr. Gower by Tyler Kelly, Ma Bailey by Catherine English-Jones, and Sam Wainwright by Louis Maskell. Violet was played by Penelope Leach, Mr. Potter by Toby Graham, and Pop Bailey by Sam Thornbury. Uncle Billy was played by Arthur Price, the Superintendent by Indiana Martin, Mary Bailey by Katie Fairbairn, and Clara by Dulcie Rogers. George Bailey was played by Makoto Kurio, and I'm your announcer, Imogen Bush. Other parts were played by members of the cast. The producer was Mr. Richard List. The Duchess's Community High School is a member of the Peel Trust, and this radio production is supported by Boost. Tune in next time for the final episode of It's a Wonderful Life.